gifted to you. You're not supposed to take it. So our dear friend Kulivera Prabhu, from currently residing in Detroit, was gifted chai. I mean, it's like a size of a brick, like this big. But he also had all of these shalagram shilas, which are the little round black stones you see that represent different incarnations of Vishnu. And he wanted to give them to me. I hadn't had second initiation yet, so I mailed my spiritual master. I said, "Dear Srila Gurudev, I'm feeling like I really want to worship shilas." He is actually a big Shila worshiper, so he has a video on Morpishing again how to do it. It's actually how I learned how to do it. And a friend of mine wants to gift me a Shalagram Shila. Would you agree to give me second initiation, allow me to worship these Shilas? He says, yes, I'll give you second initiation in a few months in Detroit, but really as Vaishnavas, we should worship Krishna. The Shalagram Shilas are their form of Vishnu, right? So we want to worship Krishna directly. So I shall bring you a Govardhan Shila from Vrindavan when I return to the States. So how am I going to say no to that, right? And I was thinking about this story because she asked me, she commented on how nice the case for Giriraj is, and I have it because I worked at Guitar Center and I got a really good deal on like a nice case with the foam. So I bought one of those from Guitar Center and I took it to Detroit to take Giriraj home in. My spiritual master had him in this little kind of like, little, almost like a burlap. You guys probably don't drink. You don't know what Crown is, but you guys know. The devotees that are laughing know. So Crown is this type of alcohol. I don't even know what kind it is. It's a whiskey, and it comes in a very small bottle, but it has these really nice bags. So if you ever see a devotee with a Crown Royal bag, just know that they don't have a bottle of whiskey in it. They're probably carrying around some very precious items, but they're usually like a very deep purple and crushed velvet with a draw. Really nice. So it's kind of like that. That's what reminded me of a Crown Royal bag. I just said it wasn't. For those of you watching on the internet, don't put my spiritual master on blast. I said it was like that. So that's what it reminded me of. And it was so mysterious, right? He pulls it out of his pocket, and there's this bag that was not a Crown Royal bag. And he pulls Giriraj out, and he goes, pops him right on the table. And I was just like, wow. Because he's shaped, for those that you didn't see before I got here and got him dressed, he's literally shaped like a mountain, right? Shaped like this. And you can honestly see the features of his face in the front of the stone. Like when I went to paint him and add eyes and a mouth, it was very easy to tell, like, oh, well, the obvious eyes go, and here's his nose. But the most distinguishing feature of our dear Giriraj is that at the very tip top of his peak, there is a peacock feather. And I swear to you, it's not an embellishment. It's not a figment of my imagination. If you take the crown off and you take a peek, there is literally the top is shaped like a peacock feather. So I was completely enamored with it. But at the same time, I had made this commitment to take on these Shalagram Shilas, and I had brought those with me. I was like, well, what should I do with these? Meaning, I meant it very innocently, like, what should I do with them? And he's like, well, a gift from the spiritual master is a very special thing. I'm like, no, that's not what I mean, right? No, Gurudev, don't misunderstand. Well, literally, what should I do with them? He's like, you should give them back to the devotee that gave them to you. I was like, okay, great. And then he goes, this is a very nice case. I'm like, oh yeah, I got it from my work. If you want one, I can get you one. And he just shot me a look. And I realized, oh, or you could just have this one, and I'll get another one when I get home. So I took Giriraj's little, not a Crown Royal bag, which we still have, that's on our altar, right? And later I got the case for him. And we had a really nice program, like the following weekend, right? All the devotees came over, and it was just learning Puja. We did Abhishek and painted him. And it was a big reveal at the house, our old apartment in Cleveland. It's a really, really nice program. But that it started to set the mood. And the reason I'm telling you the story is because there's a big emphasis on spiritual masters and Gaudiya Vaishnavas, right? With the idea that we can't directly approach Krishna, right, without the spiritual master. Right? And there's just a succession, right? We don't get the mercy of Krishna without Radharani. We don't get Radharani's mercy without Balaram, as Balaram Prabhu expressed to us last night. Yes? And we don't get the mercy of Balaram without what? mercy of the Guru. We don't get mercy of the Guru without Vaishnava association, right? So there's a disciplic succession. And what's nice about that, right, when we associate devotees and the Guru is revealed to us, the spiritual master reveals to us our, what is it called? The deity in the heart. You don't know the word I'm looking for? He reveals the way in which not only that we should worship, but that we want to, right? It's revealed to us. We have an idea. Oh, I like Shalagram Shilas. They're really nice, pretty stones. They're really smooth. Oh, turns out, oh no, I really want to worship Ishtadev. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. Thank you for Ishtadev, right? The deity in our heart. So the spiritual master, he reveals the deity for us, right? And ever since then, I've become completely enamored with the pastime of Govardhan Puja and Shila worship. And I'm very honored and grateful and humbled for the opportunity to share the pastime with you today. So, without any further ado, would you like to hear the pastime of how Govardhan Puja came about? Are you sure? Yeah. That wasn't very convincing. Would you like to hear the pastime? Yeah. Is anyone coming or hearing this pastime for the first time? Or know why? Okay, very wonderful. Great. So, let Papal get his glasses, his notes out. Okay, we discussed that note. Here it is. So in chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Paritanaya Sudanam Vanasya Chatuskritam Dharma Samtapanartaya Sambhavimini Yuge Yuge. In the English is to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to reestablish principles of religion. I myself appear millennium after millennium. So it's a very famous verse in Bhagavad Gita. We're all pretty familiar with it, I'm sure. Yes? If not, now you know. So when we hear to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, right, as well as to reestablish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. What do we think of? Don't be shy. It's interactive. You guys know how I give class. It's been that long since I give class. You guys are still asleep, huh? So what do we think? Annihilate the miscreants. What's the miscreant mean? We generally think of demons, right? Miscreants, people up to no good, up to mischief, right? So when we think about Krishna annihilating demons, well, what do we think? What comes to mind? Oh, sure, the different avatars, right? And they're as the protagonists, right, of the Leela against the antagonists. And what are some of the antagonists that we think of? Think of Ravana as a big demon, big demon. Another one of my favorites. Hiranyakashipu, yeah, that's another big one. Kamsa, right, the king of the Leela and Krishna. What other demons do we think of in Krishna? Shishupal, that's a good one. So, if we think of Krishna's appearance and we think of the demons chronologically, who comes to mind? Do you remember? I mean, in Krishna Leela. Yes, in Krishna Leela, Putana, right? So, up until this point, right, is we talk about, Krishna sort of in his Kumara stage, right? The celebrating of Kartik, right? But Damodar Puja is happening some years later. Krishna's probably 5, 6, 7 years old. So even though it's happening in the same time, right, it's not quite happening in the same calendar year. But Krishna is coming and he's annihilating so many miscreants, right? And have you ever thought about what these miscreants represent? Right? Without getting a little too esoteric, right? Bhakti True Swami put together a nice lecture where he talks about which anartas, right, that these demons are, right? And Putana represents the pseudo guru, right, or a false guru. And why is that? right? Because she disguised herself. And just what did she disguise herself as? Yeah, like a nursemaid. So not just one of um, the Gopas, right? Not just one of Mother Yashoda's servants. She thought herself good enough to nurse Krishna herself, or at least was representing herself as good enough to nurse Krishna from her own breast, right? But how did that work out for Putana? We're all familiar with that story? Didn't work out too well. A matter of perspective. A matter of perspective. To the untrained eye, it didn't work out very well. Ultimately, right, as the deeper we go in Krishna consciousness, right, we realize that she was liberated. But again, not without being so esoteric, because I do want to keep it a short and sweet lecture, so we have many festivities to get to, right? So she's representing false pride and the false guru. And who's next? Where's Skanda? Who's next? Who did Krishna defeat after Putana? The wagon. And do you remember the wagon's name? I know. I had to look it up because I knew that you would want to know. It's Saktashora. And what does Saktashora represent? What could a ghost disguised as a wagon trying to smash Krishna as he's sleeping as a little baby? What would represent? A wagon. Yeah, don't feel bad if you don't know, because I didn't know either. It's a tricky one. So, so he represents carrying the burden of a cartload of old and new bad habits and not understanding the purpose of religious principles. Right? It's pretty deep.
Very specific.
Very specific. Well, that's Bhakti True Swami for you. And who was third? A little louder for those that don't know. Trinivarta. And who was Trinivarta? He was the tornado demon, right? What would Trinivarta represent? Do you know? He represents false pride, which coming from dry or material logic, which leads to bogus philosophies. Right? Very deep and very specific. I thought it would mean more like the pride that comes with austerities, right? Because he could turn himself into a tornado. Right? Of all the things to come and snatch Krishna up, turn himself into a tornado. But there was another person. And so when that also represents pride, right? In this pastime. But when we think of annihilates the demon, we generally think, oh, well, Krishna's destroying, right? He's destroying Kaliya, he's destroying Shishupal and Kamsa and all of these. But Krishna doesn't always do that, does he? What's that? As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but even Krishna, right? When Krishna is offended, right? Not just by any demons, or when he delivers the devotees, that always that they get some realization and they go back to Godhead instantly? Or do they have to learn a lesson? Right. Right. So just like when Brahma stole the cowherd boys because he was questioning, how can this baby, how can this child, Krishna, be God? I'm going to steal all the cowherd boys. Steals them away. What does Krishna do? Skanda, what does Krishna do? Very good. Right, he expands himself. And not just the cowherd boys, who else? Moo. And the cows. Right? No monkeys that I know of. Not that he couldn't do it, but he particular pastimes. Right? Not just the cowherd boys, but all the cows. So it's not just destroying the demons, and it's not just offering liberation, right? When we think about during Kartik, right? When Krishna breaks the two Arjuna trees, Managriva and Nalakavara come out, right? And that represents of what? We all know what they represent. The big L, right? Lust. The big bad L. Lust. So Krishna, Srila Prabhupada reveals to us in the 24th chapter of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna to subdue Indra's pride, right? Because all of the residents of Vrindavan, they had gathered up all of their cows and all of these nice foodstuffs, and all of the Brahmins, right, and all of the gopis, and they were marching off to do what? Celebrate Govardhan Puja? No, not yet. What were they going to do? Right, it was for an Indra Puja. Who's ever heard? Indra Koot? Anukut. Well, that's what it came to be, right? Yeah. So they were going to they were going to worship Indra. Now, why is it that the residents of Vrindavan would worship Indra in this way? Right, for the time of the rain. So Krishna, observing this and knowing that Indra was becoming a little puffed up, right, and need to learn a little lesson, decided to ask his father, Nanda Maharaj, Pitta, right? What is this ceremony, and what are all of this boga for, and what is this worship, and why are you doing it, right? So Krishna, he's very young at the stage. He's in that why stage. Anyone have kids when they're little, when they're 3 or 4? Does Skanda still do this to you? Why? You answer, and why they never become satisfied. Right? So Krishna is playing this really cute role of being very cheeky, as the English say. He's being very cheeky. So he asking his father, he's like, oh, well, we're doing Indra Puja. He's like, well, why? It's like, well, Indra provides the rainfall, and it feeds the crops, and it sustains us. And Krishna's why? But Krishna's why turns into a very intelligent question. He says, well, it rains even over the ocean, right? The ocean doesn't need water, right? So it seems that Indra's distributing rain to everyone regardless of worship, right? And he says a very nice verse. Oh, sorry, I lost it in my notes. He says, anyone know this one? That we are simple cowherds. Our place is in the forest, right? Not in the cities, right? It's obvious. Govardhan Hill, right, is providing so many grasses, right, for the cows, and the cows are giving us so much milk. It seems to me, Father, right, that we should take all of these resources and worship Govardhan Hill. And at first, of course, Nanda Maharaj, being completely enamored with his son, wants to satisfy him. He says, yes, that's a good idea. We'll do that after Indra Puja. But was Krishna satisfied with that answer? No, of course not. He says, no, Father, we should do it. We should do it immediately. Right? We take all these resources. So they set up along the bank of the Yamuna, right? And they prepared all of these foodstuffs, and the Brahmins were worshiping Shilas and offering tulsi leaves and flowers and all this, and that's what became known as Anukut. Yes. And it was quite the feast, right? You've seen, anyone's ever attended Govardhan Puja at like New Vrindavan, right? Where they take the big Krishna deity from the barn and bring it into Purim, and they put the big mountain over his head, and they have the big clouds and all that, right? It's quite a spectacle. And the feast afterward, forget about it, right? So imagine that, right? But imagine it in Vrindavan with Krishna there and all of Krishna's close and intimate devotees, right? You can imagine the celebration and the foodstuffs. So they held the festival in this way, and they make all of these offerings like we're going to do here in a little bit, right? And they offer at the base of Govardhan Hill, right? And what happens next, devotees? It's the most amazing thing, is that Krishna expands himself again, right? As Govardhan Hill manifested, right? Giriraj, very giant, kind of shadowy figure, comes and eats up all the offerings, right? In one bite. I heard a lecture this morning, which Master He says, with one hand, Giriraj is feeding himself, and with the other hand, he's saying, give me more, give me more. And I forget the sense, right? Ani, anior, anior. Right? Anior, anior. And not a single resident of Raj knows that this is Krishna's expansion. It's explained that even Radharani didn't know. Maybe Balaram. It seems like Balaram would know, but that wasn't specified. But it goes to show you, right? The Yogamaya, Mahamaya. Yogamaya. Yeah, I was right the first time. The Yogamaya. Krishna. And Krishna suggests, oh, my dear residents of Raj, look at Govardhan. He's so pleased with this offering to manifest himself. We should pay our obeisances, right? So in a way, Krishna is paying obeisances to himself. And after that most blessed event, they packed up and they headed home. The end. Except it's not. So all the residents of Raj were very, very happy, right? And such bliss. We've all been one of those feasts where you're just totally blissed out, right? At the end, like we're all going to be in maybe like 20 or 30 minutes, I promise. But someone was not very happy about this at all. Can anyone think about who that would be? Yeah. Indra. He was so mad. And why was he so mad? Because they didn't worship him, right? Because he had this false sense of pride, right? That he is the controller, right? And that he's the one that should be worshipped. Anyone else ever feel that way? If we're being honest, come on, I see a lot of little hands out there, right? Anyone else feel that way? So Indra, in all his anger, sent the clouds of ultimate destruction known as, I thought you would know, Samvartaka, some of the clouds, right? Which again, those are saved for like right the end of Kali Yuga, right? The devastating flood. That's how angry he is. So he sends them out, right? And he goes, rain, torrents of rain and hail and lightning on these puffed up residents of Vrindavan and this puffed up Krishna, right? That thinks he's worthy of my worship, right? So, as you can imagine, it's very fitting weather, right? As I see torrents of rain, right? The rain is just pouring and pouring and pouring. And everyone, they're running and they're scattering. They don't know where to go or what to do. So Krishna has a brilliant idea. And that is, he's going to do what? He's going to lift Govardhan Hill. And what hand does he lift Govardhan Hill? His left hand. And is his whole hand? Just his pinky. Is Krishna really that strong? He could lift a hill with just the pinky on his left hand. Right? So he picks up Govardhan Hill, puts it up. Just can everyone do this? Pick it up. Take your left hand, stick out your pinky. Lift Govardhan Hill, right? Just like that. Right? Now I'm under all of your shelter. Thank you. So Krishna, he raises the hill. Yes, and he holds it there like a giant umbrella. And all the residents of Vrindavan, the gopis, the gopas, cowherd boys, the cows, the animals, everyone's taking shelter. For how many days? 1 day? 2 days? 7 days for a whole week. Now, did they starve under there? Were they so worried that they would never get out and the rain would never stop? Were they? No. Right. There was such bliss. Why? How could they be in such bliss in such terrible circumstances? Krishna's with them, right? They have that shelter of Krishna. Now, again, not to be too esoteric, right? But this is very applicable, right, to our experience here in the material world, right? So I was thinking this morning, it's very specific how Indra says, bring torrents of rain and hail and lightning, right? That's 3 things. What are the 3 things do we experience in the material world? The threefold miseries, which are Louder for those that can't hear. Adibautik, Adidaivik, Adi. So Adi means what? Hmm? I can't hear you.
No, you're asking for the full word, right?
Yes.
So one is for the self, one is the living entities around us, and one is
Right.
higher.
So Adidaivik, right? One from the David, right? One's the control. So literally, this misery is coming directly from Indra, right? But we experience all kinds of different kind of miseries in the material world based on the devas, right? And we have Adi Bautik, which is one's miseries brought on by
So living entities,
other living entities, right? And
our self creating
Adi
atma.
Atma, the self, so bring on ourselves. So I haven't quite figured out what rain and lightning and hail represent, but I'm sure if we meditate upon it, we can figure out where those go, right? And what's the only shelter that we really have in the material world? Go ahead and say it. You all know. Don't be shy.
Krishna.
Krishna. Say it with me. What's our only shelter here in the material world? Krishna. Right. So will you take shelter under Govardhan Hill with me today and for the rest of our lives? Wonderful. For 7 days and 7 nights. Wonderful. So Krishna, he's holding the hill there, right? And there's different scriptures say different things happen. So there, it got a little shaky, right? Because he was a little distracted because maybe he shared a glance with Radharani, right? Maybe it got a little shaky. And then the cowboys thought they were going to help. Oh, Krishna, after so much time, he's getting weak. We're going to help, right? And they get all their sticks for hurting the cows, right? And they put them up there. Are they really helping? Nah, not really. But they feel like they're helping. That's the mercy of Krishna, right? We get to feel like at least we're participating, right? We can help him. It's a nice exchange. He likes that. So this goes on for so many days, right? 7 days, 7 nights. And Indra, does he keep it going? Does he make it worse? What does he do? Finally gives up, right? Do you ever feel like that in the material world sometimes? You just feel like I'm just going to give up and surrender to Krishna. Yeah. And you're only what? How old are you now? You're 8. Yeah. So you're 1 year older than Krishna was when he left the Govardhan. Could you do that now? Are you strong enough to do it? All right. You need to hit the gym with me. We'll get you there. Right. So, so Indra, he finally gives up. Right. He's had enough, and he comes to the realization that, oh no, right, this small cowherd boy might actually be the supreme personality of Godhead. I should probably go and apologize. Right. And when the Lord of the heavenly planets comes to apologize, believe me, it's very opulent. Right. I can't do it justice here today. It's a wonderful chapter. There's a whole chapter dedicated to it in Krishna book, right? Where he brings his elephant Eravat, and he bathes Krishna, and he offers him all kinds of jewels and gold and foodstuffs, all of the whole thing, right? The whole 9 yards, right? He basically broke the bank to get Krishna to forgive him, right? And did Krishna forgive him? Of course he did, right? It's Krishna's mercy, right? Did he have to annihilate him? Right? But what did he do? In a way, right? He delivered him. Right? He delivered Indra from his own pride. Very good. So, in a similar way, right? Sometimes we might daydream like, oh, maybe I'll grow a nice sika so Krishna has something to grab me out of the material ocean with, right? Because Krishna is going to come on Garuda and grab me out of the material ocean. I'll go in the woods and meditate like Dhruva, and he'll appear before me, right? Or maybe he'll just send down rain and hail and thunder of miseries to get you to finally surrender, right? And that is also his mercy, right? And for me personally, it's probably way more likely, right, than getting to see Krishna directly. So, so I'll conclude there. Again, we have many more festivities to tend to. If there are any questions, corrections, realizations, comments, I would really love to hear them and have the devotee share. Hare Krishna.
Srimalla Prabhu ki jai.
No questions? Everyone satisfied? Good.
So I've been able to remember bringing the sheets with the words for Don Drossaker. If you would like to use one of these, it's in here. Otherwise, it's you can look it up on your phone if you can get internet in here. It's on page 33 in here if you would like one there right over here. Oh, look at that, Bernie saves the day.
Yay!
Before we start, two things. The first thing is I'm really bummed out because I missed Baka Tom's birthday. And it was on
Tom's
Friday.
birthday.
Friday? It was on Friday. If we can all do Haribo 3 times.
Haribo! Haribo!
Haribo!
Skittles.
I won't ask how old you were. What, 71? 71.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Look at that. I know, I didn't have to ask, I remembered. And what else? Oh, Isopanishad is, she's still struggling quite a bit. She had back to the ER and now she's back home again. She's really, really desperate for some devotee association if anybody would like to go down there and see her. So just let me know and I'll let you know how to arrange that. So she has an open wound right now and she can't travel anywhere. And that's it.
Yeah, I thought someone else wants to. No?
Did you bring you or